refreeze too, so
We
might
just
be one
had
of those-
freezing rain today.
Might be one of those things where you may have to call off recording for the day and try another time.
What, tomorrow?
I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, we're supposed to get a refreeze because everything's warming up.
Is anybody else seeing the black box or the black bars on the Twitch stream?
Me on the right side?
On the right and the left?
Oh yeah, I see him too.
Well, they go away when I pop out the when I pop the chat back out, so I think it's probably just theater mode or something like that then.
So, the what now?
Oh, I had the chat minimized and I was seeing black bars on the sides of the stream.
That's not letterbox. Letterbox is the top bars.
Yeah, I think pillar box is what you're thinking of for side.
There we go.
I paid attention in video class.
Well, I still see him actually.
I don't think I ever took a AV course.
Let's check what my streaming output is real quick.
Hey, Stinko Man. Did you just call me Stinko Man?
Well, that's one thing that I need to fix.
What, did Homestar Runner put out a new thing?
Oh, did you not see that thing I put out the other day?
Yeah, I saw that, but I didn't see anything on YouTube, is what I'm talking about.
Oh, no, they didn't. They were just announced that they were finally going to do level 10.
Yeah, and it's not. It wouldn't be a new thing. It would be like an update to the original.
Well, it's like, I thought that was literally impossible because they lost contact with the person who, originally did that and took all the assets with them.
I guess they found somebody else to do it. Or they
Yes.
contacted the other guy.
Stinko Man's going to be turning 15. There's a memento mori for you.
Yeah, that's what they said. Well, I mean, Homestar Runner was made in '96, so...
Yeah, there's a bit of a disconnect with that date because, let's face it, nobody really knew what Homestar Runner was in 1996.
Aren't we enemies? Nobody watched Dragon Ball.
Yeah, it's more...
That is literally my response to any time it's one of those, like, didn't this have the original date here? It's like, nobody cared about that.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, nobody cared about Homestar Runner until about, 2002, 2003, that era.
Yeah.
That's about when I started watching, and, yeah, like, shit. Like, Trogdor was so popular, it was getting referenced in television shows of the age.
It still gets referenced here. There was a reference a couple days ago. There was a reference I saw in something this last year that I went like, oh my god, they seriously keep doing that.
I think you can still get a Trogdor song for the current version of Guitar Hero.
Yeah. And, of course, there was the, Robot Chicken.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
The whole...
I don't think that went over quite well with everyone.
Well, nobody's quite sure if they took the actual art assets or if this is, just the parody version of them.
If it's a parody, it's not that bad, but if they actually stole the assets, oh!
It's like, it's people forget that, Homestar Runner isn't exactly hard to draw.
Yeah.
No, he's not.
No.
First you draw a cylinder, and then you draw a weird underbite.
And Robot Chicken, I don't know, taking the piss out of Homestar Runner is kind of what Robot Chicken does. It's a parody show.
I thought I would have. I'm shocked they didn't do it sooner.
Yeah, it's like, it's one
I
thing.
think it's because of its resurgence that it kind of went on like, hey, let's do that.
I mean, it's in its 9th season. Although, it's not the most inexplicable thing that's still running on Adult Swim. Now, well, Squidbillies is still a thing.
I thought
Squidbillies is still a thing?
Yeah. I can't...
How the fuck has that not died yet?
I go back and forth on that. It's, like, interesting to watch, and then it's just like, ugh.
I do not know. Other than, clearly it's somebody's favorite. Maybe Mike Lazo's.
That would explain far too much.
He's also responsible for Mr. Pickles. I think he needs to go at this point.
I'm like,
Please tell me that's ended at least.
no, Mr. Pickles is still going on because it's fairly popular. And, you know, I kind of
Somehow.
agree with Mr. Enter on that one. It's actually one of Adult Swim's most boring shows. Like, it's bad in all of the way your adult animation is bad.
Yeah.
You know, which is kind of a unusual bar for Adult Swim, because Adult Swims are usually bad in their own unique ways. You know, like, it's interestingly bad as opposed to, oh, hey, you're doing what Brickleberry did or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, ooh, look, it's shock animation and shit.
Yeah, that shit wears thin pretty quickly.
Yeah, it's like, I'm not impressed. It's like, that's kind of why I'm annoyed by Mr. Pickles, but I'm not losing my mind off of it, because I know what you're fucking doing. You're doing this is the kind of buttons you're intentionally pushing. Fuck you. Yeah. Anyway, how are we looking on actually going to broadcast here?
I think I just need to start or get the music queued up, and we should be good to go.
Good to hear. Good to hear.
Music. Main theme.
Damn.
Hmm.
Just I did the Rook Overload, and it did a almost 11k crit on the monster I was fighting.
Nice. So
Granted, that's the thing that stops you from summoning the turret again. So
yeah, it's basically the machinist version of Dissipation.
Yeah.
Only it's a bomb.
I hope they do a better pet job sometime.
Before we go live, everything's spelled right?
Let me check. Mutiny. Okay, yeah. And of course, make sure you have the right music queued up.
Yep.
Okay. Everything looks like it's in order, so.
All right. Skype, don't be stupid. Okay, then. We begin in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All right. Welcome to the first installment of the Fragments of Silicon reviews for 2018. Been a while. Been a few weeks. And getting back into the groove is always a bit difficult when you've been away for a bit. I think it's been 2-3 weeks since we've reviewed a game. Point is, we're getting back into the feel of things. So if things seem a bit, I don't know,
Slow.
different, slow or whatever, it's just us getting back into our usual routine. So just keep that in mind. Anyway, our first review of the year is Mutiny. If you watched our last broadcast of 2018, that wasn't a stream. This was the interview. We did an interview with Manga Gamer over it. And to do a quick recap, it's an adult visual novel. Comes in 2 flavors. There's the Steam version, and there's the uncensored version on mangagamer.com. We will be showing the Steam version because we kind of like having a channel here on Twitch, and we want to keep it. We have been told that the Steam version is fine for Twitch. This is what Manga Gamer told us, so there shouldn't be an issue, even though there is still nudity in this version. Like,
Mhm.
but I'm like, we're going on Manga Gamer here, so
Mm-hmm.
you know, if this results in problems, we'll bring it up with them.
Well, I mean, this is a pretty raunchy story, so
Yeah,
it would
Yeah.
be.
yeah. It's like,
I'm pretty sure even if you like completely censored everything, it would still be rated M.
yeah,
Yeah.
well, yeah. It's like
Twitch
there-
only has a problem with AO ratings, though, which is what the version on the Manga Gamer site is.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, or R18 plus, or however you want to define that. The point is, the Manga Gamer version has all the sex scenes in it. That how you view that may depend on how you view, well, the sexual encounters overall, because, well, as we're told, not, it's not just regular sex here. We're dealing with a lot of monster girls, a lot of dick girls, and so on and so forth. Like,
Uh-huh.
if that's not your fetish, you really don't apply.
Yeah, there are other visual novels for you.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, I was fine with the Steam version because, yeah, monster girls have never been my thing. Like,
Yeah.
I do not find a half spider creature all that attractive. Some people
Well, there
do.
are plenty of monster girls that aren't driders.
Yeah, it's like, it's got a Sphinx girl in it. That's an actual Sphinx. More like we were talking about this while we were during one of our Sphinx and the Cursed Mummy playthroughs.
Mm-hmm.
More on that in our second review. But
It's
Yeah.
it's a woman who is an entire lion below approximately the waist.
right, and it's not just monster girls. There are fairies who are very tiny.
Fairy
so-
monster, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
I
like,
know.
when people technically they're monsters, or you it's more a classification of half human, half animal hybrids.
Mm-hmm.
Rather than oh hey, the brownies are also monsters.
Right.
Yeah, I think the main character is the only normal human.
Yeah, it's like
I'm not sure about the person who you owe the boat's money to.
I think she's an elf.
She
Oh
is.
yeah.
Yeah,
She looks more human than most of the other characters, though.
Mhm.
well. That's because she's an elf.
Right.
Like, elves, when they're going for the high fantasy route, they tend to look like Vulcans, basically.
Mhm.
What outside of the deeper physiological differences, what separates a human from a high elf? Oh, right, the ears.
Mhm. And maybe the height, depending on the.
Yeah, usually some other elves are usually generally within the realm of human variation, but definitely shifted towards one side of it. Usually the skinny and either tall or thin side.
Right. Or dark skinned if you're going for the dark elves. But anyway, point is, yeah, there's a lot of non-human encounters here, and yeah, that's not going to be to everyone's taste.
Mhm.
So, also, this is a Western visual novel, so you're not going to have the typical production values of a visual novel. Like, there's no voice cast, there's no fully animated OP or anything like that, and that was never a priority.
Yeah, and the music is very Western.
Mm-hmm.
And
And the writing kind of there's a whole lot of
Yeah.
tropes that are very common in Japanese productions that are not here.
Right. Everything is Western here, so that could be also an issue because, like, the art, the art is obviously in like an anime manga style, but
Mhm.
it looks like one of those how to draw anime books.
Yeah,
It's not
it looks
quite
like
that
they.
bad, but yeah.
Yeah.
It looks
It's
like they pulled out
definitely
Manga
Western.
Studio.
Yeah, it's like, okay, not that. Yeah, it's not terrible, but it's certainly better than their I hesitate to say first, but the Stargazers, which we also
Yeah,
reviewed.
it's like a refined version of It's usually like stuff about shading and some proportion stuff that Western imitations of an anime style are usually different in.
Mm-hmm. And it's also worth noting that it's a lot better than the Stargazers as a visual novel, mainly because the Steam version of the Stargazers was just edited to shit. Like that just felt like an advertisement for the uncensored version. Whereas if you don't pick up if you pick up this on Steam, you'll be fine. Like you'll still get like the full experience. Like, you know, it does speak to this, you know, how maybe gratuitous the sex scenes are in this one, but yeah, you're not going to be denied.
I mean, I guess it depends on how you define gratuitous. The captain, it's written into the story in such a way that you'd have to change an awful lot to make it different.
Right. It's still very sexual outside of the sex scenes, is what I'm getting.
Mm-hmm. Like the captain was working as a prostitute when she suddenly got given the boat, so she still and she was that pretty much because she enjoyed it. So
yeah. So apparently the term
that is the kind of person she is.
So apparently the term now is sex worker. Like whatever.
Yeah.
But also, as we mentioned, this is also unusual in the fact that it has actual gameplay in it. Like
yeah, not just choices, although there are some choices, but there's also some lights out puzzles and stuff.
Yeah, there's a lights out puzzle, and then there's like a connecting puzzle. You know, think a pipe dream or that mini game from BioShock.
Yeah.
You know,
they're fairly rudimentary. Like they're not the most groundbreaking thing ever, but it's still unusual for actual, you know, gameplay in a visual novel.
Yeah, these are actual puzzles that you have to actually display skill in order to proceed, which is honestly the first time I've ever seen this in a visual novel, Western or Eastern. Like, so
and and when you fail these, the story still progresses, but you get points on your meter that leads to your crew potentially mutinying.
Right. So it is important to not only these puzzles, but the big thing that affects your mutiny meter are the battles. When you travel to one location or another, you will encounter pirates and
Peanut pirates.
All right, Outlaw Star.
R.B. Bergman, thank you very much.
Sorry, I'm thinking yesterday's Outlaw Star because they had a fucking space pirate with the actual pirate gear.
Yeah.
Like, say I'd forgotten about that episode. Anyway, getting back to the focus. In these battles, how you fare will affect your mutiny meter, and this is the most common way it's going to affect your mutiny meter. There are also your standard choices, which, if you get right, will be good, but if you get wrong, will also increase your mutiny meter. Now, the thing of it is, your mutiny meter doesn't actually matter that much until you get to the pivotal point in the visual novel, and that is picking your first mate.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I'd probably recommend having a save around when you pick a first mate if you're going for everything, just so you don't have to go through about half the game. I'm serious. It's a ways in there before you pick your first mate.
Well, considering you start with 0% nautical experience, it takes a while before you're ready for that.
Right. I'm not saying that there's not a reason for it. It's just, it's a distance into the story. And if you don't want to, replay all the shit you just replay, to get to that point, just have a save there. Also worth noting that not all of these campaigns are available right now. When we did the interview, I think about 5 of them were. 3 are in-game, and the other 2 are DLC.
Yeah. And I believe they're currently still in production.
Yes. Hang on. I'm gonna have to see if there's been any updates to, like, if they've released anything in the weeks in between our interview and this review, because that has
The
happened.
DLC is available to buy. I don't know if it's.
Well, yeah, there is DLC available. What I'm saying is there more DLC available?
Oh.
Yeah, because
No, it's still just the Sphinx, the Moth, and the soundtrack.
Okay, yeah, those are the DLC campaigns that they released around the time of our interview, is what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe they have 3 more on the way. Although I don't remember who exactly is still missing from the DLC pack.
Well, who are the 3 ones in the?
Once again, I only picked I picked the Chameleon Girl. Okay. You know, it's like, honestly, I wasn't really interested in getting all of the endings.
Yeah,
that would have taken a lot more time than I was interested in investing.
So it does do the usual visual novel thing where you get a gallery of what the scenes you've already seen. So
yeah.
This is what, 5 hours a route or something like that.
Something like that. It, like, to see everything is actually going to take you a fair bit amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's always kind of hard to calculate out, but like a base playthrough is probably going to take you about 10 to 15 hours. I'd say about 40 hours to do everything, maybe 60 hours if you're going for all of the endings, you know, not because there are the good endings, there are the neutral endings, and then there are the mutiny endings for each potential first mate.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a lot of endings. So in terms of content, you're going to be pretty covered buying this, even if you don't get the DLC.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like, let's see, what else? In personal terms, I honestly would have liked to have seen more of the piratey treasure hunting stuff.
So have I, actually.
You know, it's like, I get what the most prominent purpose of this visual novel is, but I'll be honest, yeah,
and again, it's kind of in character because the main character is not really particularly into piracy or commerce. It's just you owe a shit ton of money.
Tell me if you've heard that premise before.
Yeah.
I just kind of had a problem with the captain. I suppose because, there were issues with the Chameleon Girl. It was one of those, hey, respect boundaries.
Indeed.
You know, it's like, you know, she's told you that she's not really into you, and you keep, you know, basically sexually harassing her. Like, you know, and there's a whole big debate about that, and not just say visual novels, but Japanese media, but, you know, it's not, it was borderline at best. Let's just say, you know, it's like, okay, you're into sex, but someone who's not into
you need to respect people who aren't.
Yeah, it's like,
and there are plenty of people on this ship that are, so
yeah. It's like, well, if you get the happy ending, she does, yes, I know the phrase, she does come around, and I do, you know, it's like, and yeah, that is kind of literal. You think I'm joking, but
I imagine I know how this works by now.
Yeah, I'm like, but, you know, like in the beginning stages, she continually says, not interested, and the captain just keeps flirting and trying to get her into bed. It's like, I understand persistence, you know, is a thing that's important, but like I said, when You're not
There's such a
respecting
thing as
boundaries.
going too far and or possibly getting your ass arrested.
Did you hear that, boys? 30 no's and 1 yes equals yes.
Jesus.
Anyway, jeez. Pricing. So, Mutiny, the base price is $20, which is a decent price for this package. Mind you, we're going by Steam here. I'm pretty sure that the Manga Gamer version is going to be different. You know, it's like that's another thing. The uncensored version of a game tends to be more expensive because they know what you want.
Yeah, they know exactly what you want.
Let me just check. See, I hate it when real time official website. Go there, gamer. Yeah, surprisingly, it's the same price. Or well, it says 1995 here, but you know,
5 cents is not a significant difference in price.
no, it is not.
So I guess depends on your preference then.
Hmm.
Stupid autoplay, like I don't know why that's still a thing. Anyway, and the current DLC, the bonus routes are going for $3, and presumably that's going to be the case for future installments. And the soundtrack is $5. I'm like, honestly, I'm having a hard time remembering the soundtrack.
Yeah, it's okay. It's fitting.
It's-
It's not. It's something I turned down pretty quickly because I prefer to play visual novels while listening to other things.
it's very background noise,
Hmm.
as visual novel music tends to be. Uh, anyway, anything else we need to really cover with this one?
Not that I can think of.
Seems to be
Alright.
about it.
Yeah, I would recommend this if you're into monster/animal girl porn games.
That's about where I'd have to go because, like, in terms of sexual encounters, this is going to turn off a lot of people.
Hmm.
Probably far more than it's going to turn on because, it's really diving deep into the unconventional fetish territory.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So kind of a buyer beware on that note. Like, also, if you're just feeling prudish in general, go elsewhere.
Yeah.
This is just not going to be for you. Like, it's just not. Oh, God, no.
Yeah.
Okay. So, with all of that in mind, be sure to tune in after the break as we'll be talking about Sphinx and the Cursed Mummy HD. And until then, I wish you good gaming.